Hi, welcome to Homeschool Advice with Laura Geis. I'm Laura Geis, author of the Homeschool Toolkit and founder of HomeschoolAdviceOnline.com. Today's question says, what information should I include in my homeschool plan book? Well, that's kind of a difficult question to answer because your homeschool plan book should be personalized for you and to meet your needs. So what I thought I'd do this week is take you through a tour of my homeschool plan book and show you some of the things I have in there, and maybe that will give you some ideas of what you might want to have in your homeschool plan book. So I realize you're not going to be able to see this, but if I have it here, it helps me remember everything that's in here. I prefer to have my plan book in a binder because I like to add pages and take things out sometimes as necessary. I don't like the comb bound things, so I buy my own binder and I make my own pages. And I like the binders that have little flaps in the front and the back so I can put extra papers as I'm going through the week. The first thing in my plan book is a prayer list that my kids fill out in the morning when we have our prayer time, and we write down our request and then how it's answered. And I just think that's a good way for us to see how God is answering prayer. But that would be up to you if you'd want something like that in your book. I use these index tab dividers to divide my book into sections so it's just easier to get through things. The next section in my book is my calendar. It's just a simple monthly calendar. Sometimes I just, go to a discount department store and buy a calendar, punch some holes in the pages and throw them in. I have a free plan book on my website, and I've included calendar pages that are totally blank so that you can fill those out and reuse them year after year. So I like to have a monthly calendar because, once a month my kids and I have a composer of the month, and I write myself a reminder on the calendar that I need to do that, or if we have a vacation coming up or something like that, I write that on the calendar. So monthly calendar. Next page section is the attendance section. Most states you have to do that to comply with the state law, so I just do that simple one page, 180 days of school, just write down the date of all the days we have school. The next section is actually the lesson planning section, and I purchased one of these. I love this thing. It's a great big paper clip. Doesn't get caught on my pages. I don't know where I found that. It was some office supply store, but I love this kind. But use a paper clip to keep your place in here so you're not always fumbling through a bunch of papers. But this is where I keep the lesson plans for the week. I write the subjects on one side of the page, the day across the top, and I write everyone's lessons. And it's great if you can find a book, if you have one student that's designed for one, or if you have four that's designed for four. This page in my book has room for 3 students, so whatever, I like it to be adaptable to my kids. The next section, I keep a personalized plan for each of my kids. At the beginning of the year, I design, what do I want them to learn in math? What do I want them to learn in reading? And all the subject areas. And I list that out with the curriculum I'm planning to use, how many days a week I'm planning to teach that. And I just keep that in my homeschool plan book. So, if I forget, am I supposed to do spelling 2, 3, or 4 days a week? I can look back and remind myself what I'm supposed to be doing. The next section in my plan book is it's a section where I keep information on each of my kids. I keep their grades, any anecdotes. I might keep handwriting samples or samples of their compositions, whatever. But so this is pretty much my grading section. And then I have a section where I keep track of the books we're reading aloud so that I know what I've read from year to year. I have a hard time remembering that sometimes, and that's been a very helpful thing. I just keep the same page in for year after year so that I can see what we've been reading out loud. I have another section where I keep track of helpful websites, there's a site we like to do when we're doing the Composer of the Month, where it's a radio program that they put online, and they play the composer's music and tell the story about his life. So I have that one listed. Just any helpful website that you use regularly for your school. Then I have a section where I write down if I have loaned any of my materials out. I'm always willing to loan out whatever I'm not using and save somebody some money, but I write it down so that I make sure I collect it again at the end of the year. And likewise, if I borrow something, I write that down in here so that I remember to return it. And then I use these, probably can't see, but they're plastic sleeves for papers that I use a lot. Like this is a multiplication. I have a multiplication chart here that we use a lot, you know, with my son Nate, who's in 3rd grade. So I keep that in plastic protector pages. And then I have one for field trips, so that if I get a field trip brochure, I can just slip it in there. You know, maybe we want to go to the Children's Museum, and I have a brochure on that. I can stick it in here, so when I need to know what the hours are, what the admission cost is going to be, I have that right there. And then if there's any other pages that you want to add to your binder, feel free. I also keep my weekly teaching schedule so that I'll know what I'm supposed to be teaching each day of the week. And that is pretty much it. I like a pretty simple plan book. I normally don't like to include my menus and household things. I know some plan books on the market do that, but I don't like anything that's too big, and I keep that kind of stuff in a different place in the kitchen. So this is really just school related papers in my plan book. Now if you would like a copy of my homeschool plan book, just visit www.homeschooladviceonline.com and sign up for a free copy. I'll send it to you as an email. You download it, just punch some holes in the pages and stick them in your own binder, and you'll have your own plan book in just a matter of minutes. So I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you next week.